we are dealing with its products in our everyday lives without us knowing.
As a chemical engineering student living in the 21st century, biotechnology has been the foundation of some of the products and services we currently use. Some of the popular products include biofuel, vaccine, pet-resistant crops, cheese production, and alcoholic drinks. At the same time, popular services include forensic DNA analysis, environmental engineering, petroleum engineering, and biodefense. Biodefense in the sense that the military weapons today have transitioned to biological ones. As a result, disaster responders today are increasingly confronted with biological and chemical threats.
A technology that uses biological systems, living organisms, or components to generate or alter goods for specific purposes in order to address today's and tomorrow's issues.
The innovation of biotechnology in agriculture has come a long way. Biotechnology has enabled genetic modification of plants and animals. Genetically modified plants are engineered to have specific traits that makes them resistant to pests, disease, and harsh weather conditions. Additionally, scientists and engineers can genetically modify plants to yield better, thus improving food security.
The food industry has been finding ways on how to produce meat products without risk of environmental impact and animal cruelty. So, lab-grown meat has been widely studied nowadays. Certain countries like Singapore have already commercialized selling them. Upon trying it a few years ago, I remember it to be so much paler and blander tasting than regular meat. Well, maybe it has been improved since more people say that the texture and taste is like real meat.
From several industries, crops for agriculture, waste treatment, energy therapeutics, and food, the outputs of biotechnology sounds promising. Several byproducts from meat production have contributed to increase in greenhouse gas emissions. An example is a large amount of manure or animal feces produced during production. In the US alone, 9.8 billion livestock produce 1.4 billion manure, contributing heavily to greenhouse gas emissions. Furthermore, domesticated ruminant animals, such as cows, sheep, and goats, also emit greenhouse gases while digesting plants. During the digestive process of domestic ruminant plants, enteric fermentation is performed. Enteric fermentation is a process of microbes in their digestive tract decomposing and fermenting food, forming methane as a byproduct. Ruminant animal waste also produces nitrous oxide and carbon dioxide, forms of greenhouse gases. According to the estimation of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization in 2017, the total annual beef production from agriculture and land use change produced 3 billion tons of carbon dioxide. As a result, the meat production industry has been subjected to a significant contributor to climate change. One kind of process that scientists have been studying to grow meat in a laboratory starts with harvesting stem cells from cows.
Stem cells are to be grown in the lab, and they are basic cells from the body which have the capacity of regeneration and provide an innovative approach to life of the cow.
The body of the cow is replaced with a bioreactor which contains fetal bovine serum. Commonly, cells are grown in a surface such as petri dishes. However, cells for lab-grown meat are suspended in a liquid and divided roughly once a day. When cells have divided enough into mass of cells, they are transferred to tissue engineering where 3D printing of meat happens. In the printing process, the inks contain the grown cells, which are called the bioinks. The ink for fat and ink for muscles going to the meat are both controlled through nozzles. The cells are allowed for a week up to a month to develop into muscle and fat tissues until muscle fibers start to contract. Scientists are continuously investigating the process and product for entirely safe and complete commercialization of lab-grown meat. However, there is a significant issue with growing this meat. FBS, also known as the fetal bovine serum, is harvested from bovine fetuses taken from pregnant cows during slaughter. Researchers are still looking for alternatives to FBS as a growth medium. Fetal bovine serum derived from blood of fetuses of cows. If a pregnant cow is slaughtered, the fetus is removed and its blood is drained. While it slowly dies, the fetus is kept alive for as long as possible to ensure that the blood quality remains good. The blood is then refined, yielding to fetal bovine serum or FBS, which is required by almost all lab-grown meat. FBS prevents replicating stem cells from committing suicide. When added to any cell, FBS works almost entirely universally for cell attachment, growth, and proliferation. It is an adequate component for most types of human and animal cells, including insect cells. This is why it is a necessary component or ingredient of a lab-grown meat, ultimately defeating the purpose of an artificial meat. A single lab-grown beef burger requires approximately 50 liters of bovine serum, and a single cow fetus can yield between 150 and 550 milliliters of serum, depending on age. And imagine, you need the blood of between 90 and 333 cow fetuses to make a single burger. Although many scientists are looking for alternatives, the serum's composition is difficult to replace because it contains 1,800 proteins and over 4,000 metabolites. Some scientists have succeeded in developing synthetic serums, but they are all hyperspecific to the cultured cell type. None are capable of replacing FBS in the culture of all cell types. Furthermore, it was one of the most expensive ingredients in the process, with 1 liter costing up to 700 euros. Actually, one company producing an alternative has recently emerged as a ray of hope, the Masa meat. A Europe-based startup founded in 2016 was one of the first to work on FBS alternatives. They are investigating the transcriptomic remodeling of bovine satellite cells during myogenic differentiation induced by serum deprivation using RNA sequencing. Although the research is still evolving, they have made significant progress since submitting a paper for public transparency more than a year ago. In addition, Masa claims that its FBS-free process is 80% less expensive than the original when used for fat differentiation. When consumer approval is highly dependent on sensory characteristics, real and lab-grown meat is differentiated in terms of smell, texture, and taste. Zhu and co-authors claim that the makeup of amino acids and nucleotide-related compounds influences the flavor of lab-grown meat from actual meat. Their research revealed that laboratory-grown meat had lower levels of glutamic acid and aspartic acid than actual meat, all of which are essential components of the umami flavor of the meat. They also assessed the intensity of umami and bitterness in lab-grown meat using an electronic tongue system, which showed that the lab-grown meat was weaker than real meat. Following those distinctions, lab-grown meat has many more advantages than real meat. One advantage would be that there would no contamination throughout the slaughter process. It is manufactured in a highly controlled environment. Microbes and intestinal pathogens such as E. coli, Salmonella, and Campylobacter will be all avoided. Second, lab-grown meat is free of the growth hormones frequently administered to farm animals to improve the quality of their flesh. As a result, lab-grown meat is healthier. Third, lab-grown meat is free of the zoonotic diseases that plague animals and the antibiotics they are given. Because animals are raised in confined spaces, they are vulnerable to epidemics such as influenza. Fourth, scientists have proposed modifying the nutritional content of produced meat to meet the specific needs. This form of meat is also known as designer meat. Fifth, the type of fat can be changed, making it healthier than traditional meat.
By altering the growing medium, the fat content of the meat can be regulated. The amount of saturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids can also be adjusted.
Finally, according to a recent study by CE Delft, which was the first to incorporate data from cultured meat companies, growing meat from cells could use up to 95% less land and water, reduce air pollution by up to 93%, and reduce climate effective meat by up to 92% compared to raising animals. With these benefits, plant-based meat enterprises springing up all over the place. Singapore became the first country in the world to permit the marketing of cultured meat products. The Singapore Food Agency approved Eat Just's chicken, and in December 2020, a limited product supply was made available through food services. China's 5-year plan for bioeconomy development, released in May 2022, urged the nation to advance synthetic biology technologies, study and develop new meals like synthetic protein, and lessen the strain that conventional animal agriculture places on the environment. Beyond Asia, Europe is getting closer to having cultured meat.
Investments are being made in this innovative substitute to meat for a reason. Since lab-grown meat are proposed to offer same taste and texture while having less harm on the environment and animals, I think that it is worth to buy and consume this meat. After all, humans can innovate the process more to ensure same nutrients as real meat.
Researchers and scientists are attempting to ensure that lab-grown meat is safe. Therefore, moving to a lab-grown beef is a good idea due to its numerous advantages. Viruses that transmit from animals to humans are frequently caused by conventional farming. It is believed that meat markets are the source of COVID-19. So cultivated meat may be the solution for expanded food accessibility, less greenhouse gas emissions, and enhanced health.
With the information given, I would consider changing my diet by consuming lab-grown meat instead of traditional meat. However, the transition of switching traditional meat into lab-grown meat is expensive. Therefore, I would suggest further research and development in making lab-grown meat cheaper and more affordable for the public.
Based on all the information, I could try to eat lab-grown meat, but I would still be cautious because scientists and researchers are still conducting more studies about it. Studies particularly on how well the human body reacts by adding lab-grown meat to its diet, and how will the entire ecosystem will be affected by these changes. So in my opinion, a plant-based diet is still better and safer than eating lab-grown meat.
In my own perspective, I'd prefer the naturally cooked meat instead of the lab-grown meat, because who knows that the chemicals that they might be using in the laboratory for the sample testing can be carcinogens, which are very detrimental to our health. So might as well go with the natural cooking process. However, this is not one reason to look down on lab-grown meat, because lab-grown meat has shown significant effects in the marketing industry of these production of animal foods.